What's going on, everybody? Thank y'all for tuning in. And look, this is the Juice Box Heroes podcast on a Thursday. I'm one of your hosts, PK. And as always, we have Homer Chris here with us tonight, Sweet B Bones Bryles, and a very special guest from SleeperAstros, Luke. Luke, man, thanks for coming on, dude. I appreciate it. How's everything going?
It's good. It's good. Getting closer to baseball season, so it's a good thing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Homer Chris, it's good to see you again after my disaster last night.
It's all good. I mean, don't worry. Like I said, my face was able to sell the name, so we're good.
Yeah, you got a face only a mom can love, bro. It's okay, but thank you.
I was told I had a face for radio, so there you go.
That's right. That's right. Bryles, what's going on with you, man?
Not much, buddy. Been a busy week, man. Good to see all you guys on here. You definitely knocked it out on Locked On, so good job on that. Minus the technical difficulties, but other than that, it looked really good. So glad you guys were able to hammer that out.
Yeah, no, it was. Look, man, big shout out to H-Town Wheelhouse. So thank him for having us on. It was really cool to get on there for the 15 minutes that I was there before the internet decided to not work. But like I said, Chris held it down. So we had a good little showing. Again, thank you to H-Town Wheelhouse, as always. He's been a lot of help for us, as we've gone on this little journey the last few years. But let's get into this, man. So we're still here in the off season, waiting on potential moves. There's still the talk of Paredes. There's still an article that was out today about a very small possibility of some interest with Christian Walker. Bryles will get into that here in a minute. And then today was International Signing Day for the Astros. So we're going to touch on a few things. We're going to just, kind of briefly get to the international signings. It's not going to take up a lot of time. But the Astros did sign two of the top shortstop duos in the pool. And I'm going to butcher their names for you real quick.
All right. This is worth watching just alone.
Oh, actually, no, they're pretty easy. Albert Fermin, number 19 overall, and Randy Arias, number 37. So gives the club the best 1-2 punches in the international scene in years. One's Dominican. Let's see. Oh, the pair of they're both Dominican, right? So they also had, I think, one Cuban signing, one Mexican league signing. So look, man, I'm about that. Those Cuban players and those Dominican players, you get them young. I mean, those guys just have a rich history from that country of being like just really good ball players. So there's not really a lot of information on these guys. We could go down the article I'm looking at right now, and I can read you all the stuff, right? But at the end of the day, they're young prospects, right? So, they've got several years of development before, we could potentially see them, or if they even pan out. So is Chris, Bryles, Luke, anything that you have on these really young kids out of the international signing?
I mean, not really. We'll see you in 6 to 8 years.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
I'd say they're like 16 or 18, right? They're usually kind of in that young age. Yeah. So I know the Astros were like allocated like the smallest amount of money, I think, out of all the MLB teams is what Brian tweeted today.
Yep, 5.4. So,
yeah, he sounded pretty kind of stoked about the players that they got. So, I mean, yeah, you're right. I guess we'll see in about 5 to 7 years from now. So
yeah, there's just not much. I mean, like, we talk about it all the time, right? Like, you can have the top pick in the draft or top 10 pick in the draft and get a guy that checks every box, but he just doesn't pan out, right? And you can go into a higher round, guy and he checks only a couple boxes, but then he ends up panning out, right? It's such a crapshoot with these prospects, man. So like we both said, 6 to 8 years, 5 to 7 years, however. But the thing is like, it's really, I know the Astros always, they've had a presence there in the Caribbean area, right? They've had a presence there. We're used to them getting, some signings there. We have the Kevin Alvarez from last season. That's supposed to be a sweet hidden lefty, right? It's a comp was to Jordan. And we had Astros Future on last season, right? And we talked with him about it. So just want to see the development of those guys in this organization and see what they can help out in the future. And it's a little bit international, like, you had the signing of Imai here a few weeks ago, right? And now you're going out west, and so the Astros, kind of spreading their wings to get into that Asian market, right? And we see all the big name teams, going and grabbing these guys, now to see the Astros go out and get, Imai, like I hope that it sets up for future potential targets that we can acquire.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And, you know, the one thing I will say about that is we haven't really dipped our toes into the Asian market as much. You know, the Korean, Japanese markets, you know, where we've seen guys come out from the KBO, you know, have been fantastic. But the one thing I will say, especially about the Caribbean leagues, the Dominican, you know, and all the surrounding areas, you know, the Astros were one of the first organizations to go set up camps there and, you know, actually try to go develop some of these younger kids that really didn't even have a baseball field to go play on. I mean, if you guys have ever seen the documentary, they were talking about Jose Altuve as a young kid, like playing stickball, except instead of a ball, he was hitting bottle caps where kids were just like straight throwing them. And it's a curve and he's trying to hit them with a broomstick. You want to talk about hand-eye coordination. You want to learn that? That's a great way to learn it. And then we all know the story of Altuve, you know, coming up into those camps, gets sent home the first day. Second day, he comes back and says, no, you missed out. And then actually, you know, proves and makes his way on to the camp team. And then we know his story coming up through the minors and obviously in the majors as well. But no, I got to give big props and kudos to the Astros as an organization for actually going into some of these Caribbean leagues and these, you know, smaller countries that we wouldn't have thought baseball would have developed as much and actually be able to pull talent out of there. So, you know, if they're pulling 15, 16-year-old kids out of here and giving them international money, let me tell you, these are going to be some pretty good guys to watch coming up, like we've all said in the next 5 to 7 years.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. So look, that's unless Homer Chris, you got anything other than 6 to 8 years? We'll see these guys.
I mean, after my extensive scouting of these kids, no, that's pretty much all I got.
It's still 6 to 8 after your extensive scouting.
It's still 6 to 8. Yeah, that's right.
Well, good deal. Let's move on, man. So Braz, I know you wanted to kind of discuss our backup catcher situation and what we've got going there. So, well, we all know that Victor Caratini is still out there, right? We all know that Caratini did for the club for the last 2 seasons. We know that he played a lot of first base for us, right? Obviously, he caught, right? You know, he was Captain Clutch there for a little bit, right? I mean, he was coming in with some pretty good big hits and specific, you know, clutch moments for us. But he's now getting a little bit expensive. So, do the Astros re-sign Caratini and bring him back? Doesn't sound like it, I don't think. I think they're going to stay with Salazar. So, Braz, what do you think?
So, I know you guys got to touch on this a little bit last night. The only thing with Caratini, and I know he was in town when we signed him. You guys touched on that as well. It's like he did get to go to the Rockets game. Maybe he was there even just to see what he had. I don't know. But the one thing that Chris touched on a couple of times, especially on our podcast too, was even that he's going to probably be a little too expensive at $6 million per the last 2 years. You know, that was actually pretty well money spent on Caratini, especially considering the fact that he played first base, he DH'd, you know, and we used him as much as we possibly could. Assuming that we have that healthy team, just like we've talked about. I don't know if that's going to happen. But the one guy I've been following, like you alluded to, was Cesar Salazar. He's in the Mexican leagues right now, playing for the Naranjitos, and I'm sure I butchered that. But at the same time, he's playing for the Oranges. Defensively, you will find videos all over X and the internet of him covering the entire field is what it felt like. There was one that said that, you know, the earth is covered by 2/3 of water and Cesar Salazar covers the other third.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of felt like just from watching those videos. So I think he's really matured as a defensive catcher. Now, as far as hitting is concerned, I did look up his stats in the Mexican leagues as of right now. Assuming those stats are up to date, you know, that's not something that we really are hoping for as far as our backup catcher is concerned, hitting wise. But at the same time, from a defensive standpoint, you know, I think that he could very easily be serviceable, especially talking about the the tax threshold. So talking about the tax threshold and trying to sign another backup catcher, possibly to put behind Diaz as opposed to Salazar, I think that you can probably get some pretty good value at a very minimal spending with him. So I will tell you, I've seen his highlights and all that. Defensively, great. Offensively, not so much. So I'll let you guys try to touch on that or whatever you think you might have seen so far.
Luke, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm kind of bullish on Caratini. I hope he comes back. I hope they find a way to bring him back. But in reality, I don't think they have the money to bring him back. Main reason I say that is because one thing Caratini did last year instead of catching was play first base, right? And especially with the infield logjam that we have now, if we go into spring training in the regular season with these guys, that's even less time for Caratini to come back, especially if we sign him on a $6 million deal. And I also think he might be getting some starting offers maybe from the rest of the league because I think he's that good, a switch hitting catcher that can hit for some power. So I don't know. I think they're probably going to roll Salazar and probably sign a mid-level, low-level catcher to back Yanyer up. But I mean, I'm open to anything. I would prefer a defensive first catcher just because we lacked in that that area last year. But I mean, I'm holding on to any hope we have of bringing Caratini back.
Look, man, the defensive catcher thing, like all last season, like my biggest pet peeve with our catchers is like they refuse to throw runners out.
Yeah.
To the point where we weren't even throwing down.
Well, I will kind of add on to that. I feel like last year our pitchers were also horrible at holding runners on. Yeah. Like most of the plays, the runner was halfway to second before Yanyer or Victor caught the ball. So
yeah. Dude, it was such a pet. It was such, dude, I would just lose it in our group text about if I was any team that comes into Houston to play, I'm running every pitch because we're not holding, we're not throwing down. So, and I think with Yanyer was like, look, if you're going to be the offensive catcher, then you better be a damn good offensive catcher, not Mr. Brown's double plays, right? So, and he was doing that and then not throwing guys out. So I like the defensive catcher thing. Like it's either one or the other. Like very few guys we've all seen are good equally at defensive and offensive, right? So you've got to be one or the other. So, Chris, what do you have on the catching situation?
Yeah, I mean, like pretty much same thing I said last night. Like I think the possibility of Caratini coming back is pretty much zero. And that's based on, let's say you keep Paredes. I mean, I think the number that he wanted was 9.3 in arbitration. So they're going to arbitration. If they trade him for, let's say Duran makes 7.7. So that money is going to be a wash. You're not really going to gain too much money by trading him for, let's say if it is Duran in that deal. So I agree. I think they're going to go try to find themselves, a catcher that's defensive first, that's going to be on a 1-year deal, and like I said, they'll address backup catcher next year.
Okay, I like it. I mean, look, like Yainer's got to have a bounce back season. I mean, his power numbers were down from 24, right? I had a really stupid hot take coming into 25 that he was going to be like, top. I think I said really stupidly top 5 candidate for like AL MVP. I was way wrong, right? But like the way he finished 24, like you're looking at 25 and you're like, this dude could have a monster season. Like he could have a monster season, and he did obviously. So he needed to bounce back, right? I think as we're talking about it, I'm good with Salazar as the backup. I agree, Luke. Like defensive catcher is like you need to have at least one, right? Especially since Espada does like the days off approach for a lot of his players, right? I mean, Yanyer does not an everyday catcher in the sense that he's back there like Cal Raleigh like every day, right? So, we know that on Wednesdays we're going to have the B lineup. Sunday afternoons at 1:05, we're going to have the B lineup, right? So to have like a Salazar in there, where you're going to lose some offensive, pop, but you're going to have at least a good defensive catcher back behind the plate. So, and again, you're saving money. This whole thing, this offseason was about saving money and staying under that threshold. That's what this offseason has been about. So, so look, let's pivot. Chris brought up a little bit about Paredes. I know that we talked about it a little bit last night. It's the biggest thing that, offseason wise that I can think of right now going on is, is there going to be a move for Paredes to Boston? Who wants to take that one? To Boston. Go ahead, Luke.
Luke, take it.
I don't say you're the guest. Let's go.
What we've all been hearing is the Astros don't want to trade, Isak just because of how well he played last year. I favorite him a lot just because he was so good last year before he got hurt, and then he was supposed to miss the rest of the season with his hamstring injury. That was supposed to require surgery, and then he basically came back on half a hamstring to try and get this team into the postseason. Obviously, we didn't, but it would just kind of suck, to trade a key piece of the Tucker trade, especially looking back on it. But if it's for a guy like Jarren Duran, which I'm hearing that they're probably not going to shop Duran, it's probably going to be one of the three pitchers they have. Tolle, is it Bello? I think is his name, and Early. So I don't know. I'm at the point where I'd rather just keep him, in my opinion. I think he hits well. His swing is made for Dyken Park. So I don't know. I don't really see the Astros moving him. Maybe. I mean, we still do have a log jam, but I just don't see it from where they're at right now. But
so what's your infield looking like? Let's say we have him and Walker. Praise the Walker stays, right? I mean, Walker's market's pretty slim, but let's just say we have all the 5 guys.
So in my opinion, if we were to run a team out right now, it's opening day tomorrow. I think you have to put Yordan in left and then Altuve at DH, Isak at second, obviously Walker at first. That's the only really clear path I see, unless you put Altuve out there. I guess you could say Yordan's DHing, Altuve's in left, but we kind of all know how that is with him out there. So my guess would be Yordan in left and then Altuve DHing.
I mean, that's still a pretty damn good.
Yeah, I'm not complaining.
That's still a damn good lineup, man.
Twitter is against that, but that lineup mashes. So
and you got Myers in center, of course, and you got are you giving Smith right field again right out the bat, or is it a Zach Cole?
So I love Cam Smith, so I'm going to put him in right, and then obviously Jake, I'm assuming he's going to be on the team on opening day. I'm in center.
So what did you take from early on in the offseason, Dana Brown's comments about Cam Smith, about being more consistent? And I believe it was something along the lines of that right field is not necessarily gifted to him.
Yeah. I mean, I think the big thing from that was, he obviously finished the year pretty rough after starting out so well. So I think that's really just to give Cam motivation. Obviously, he's going to have to work this spring, but to be fair, a lot of other guys have to work this spring. Lance McCullers is going to have to work to prove his spot this spring, and he's been in the league for, 5 or 6 years now. So I think it's just one of those things trying to motivate the young guy. Obviously, we can see how good he is. Beginning of the year, he was mashing. So I think he's going to be a starting right fielder. I mean, I don't think at all he's going to be in AAA, in my opinion, but he definitely could be. But I see him being on the roster on opening day, if not starting.
I mean, look, the dude had never played right field until last February, right? And, I mean, like, he looked pretty damn. I mean, he had the little deer legs, right? The baby deer legs for early on, right? He's trying to figure out what he's doing out and right, right? But as the season progressed, I mean, the dude was locked down in right field.
Yeah, right? And he finished in top 3 in Gold Glove too.
Yeah,
Gold Glove.
I was just about to say that.
Exactly, right? So, I mean, look, I think Chris, we were there for first home run. Was that the Angels game?
Yes.
Yeah, we were there for the first home run, and the place went, insanely loud, right? Yeah. But like, even throughout the season, that every extra hit or extra base that he got, right? Like he had brought that energy, right? Every single time, right? Super pumped up. He's got a good arm, can clearly play defense out there. So, I think he is a lockdown for right field. I think what we talked about when Dana Brown first talked about, made those comments, I think we all kind of agreed it was along the same lines of what you said, more of a motivation, right? Like this thing's not given to you. You have it now. You need to earn that keep. So, what do you think about? You talked a little bit about the pitching rotation. So we've talked quite a bit, obviously, right, this offseason about the rotation, and we kind of feel that there's 4 guys, I guess, vying for that 5th spot.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like this might be Lance's maybe last chance to get that spot. So what are your thoughts on the rotation of the back end of the rotation and where Lance could be?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking if the Astros do go trade Isak for a young pitcher like Tolle or Early, Lance McCullers is probably the first on the block, I would think, in my opinion. So with coming to this season with what we have now, I mean, Lance is going to have to prove his spot for sure. I made a post the other day that I think he does crack the rotation. Truly, just because they're paying him $17 million this year. It's his last year. This is his first, I think, full offseason he's had to really work and get in the lab since I think 2020 or whenever he wasn't injured. So it's been a while since he's had a full offseason. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. And then I'm hoping, in spring training, he at least shows you some signs of life. I think he's going to do well in spring training. I think they'll give him a shot in the regular season. But his leash is short for sure. I think they're going to give him about a month or two if he does make the roster to kind of prove his spot. But he definitely, if he has a rough spring, then he might not even break camp. And I don't know what they're going to do from there. So
interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wild, dude. Like, it's wild because, like, it's Lance freaking McCullers, right? We all remember, like, Lance, LMJ, and so it sucked to watch him struggle last season to get shelled by the White Sox. I think it was White Sox at home. I think he didn't get out of the first inning.
I was at that game.
Oh, so your fault then, Bryles.
Yeah, it was my fault.
Thanks a lot, Bryles.
Way to go, man.
Yeah, and I was at the game actually when they played, the Athletics at home. I think it was mid-June that he actually had a really good start. I think his stuff obviously still plays. It's the control, right? Like that's the big factor for him. If he finds that control or even 75% of it, I think he's going to be fine. But I'm also just optimistic. I believe in him. I'm bullish on him as well, just because of what he's done for the city already.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So
I think that's where we're at too. Like we want to see the real LMJ, right?
Right.
At the same time, you've got some pretty young studs right behind him, ready to go. I mean, Blue Ball showed us a lot after he came back up the second time, and so we kind of penciled him in as a long reliever, Blue Ball, right? Because of what he did towards the end. And then Chris, that's Chris's guy. So look, Chris is our in-house minor league aficionado, right? And so, Chris was talking about Blue Ball before, like I was, really aware of his stuff and what he had. So, I mean, I like Blue Ball, man. I think he's got some power pitches. So
he's got a little bit of like swagger to him that's kind of quiet, but you kind of you can notice it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, absolutely. And that was like what Eric Getty had prior to prior to this season. Yeah, prior to this season or 25, right? Like he just had that young swag, didn't know any better, right? And then struggled this year, and then of course, hopefully he's learned not to play catch during batting practice. Hope that was learned. I mean, lesson learned for sure. So
yeah.
Chris, you got anything, man?
No, I mean, I don't want to be Mr. Poopy Pants, but I'll go ahead and do it. I get, everybody wants Lance McCullers to kind of turn things around. I mean, but I just feel like with all the arms that you went out to go get this offseason, I think there's just not enough room for him. And now, like I said, I could see him, potentially being another option as like a long reliever out of the bullpen. I'm not saying DFA him or anything like that. I mean, but I'd really like to see a really good long look at Mike Burrows. I'd like to take a look at Ryan Weiss. In my opinion, I just don't think there's enough room in that rotation for LMJ. I mean, it sucks. Like you said, when I think about LMJ, I'm thinking of the 17 curveballs in a row against the Yankees. But yeah, man, I'm just ready to move on. I'm ready to see what these younger guys have. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but spring's so huge for him. I mean, it really is like you said, Luke. I mean, it is a big spring for him. And I really didn't think about the complete healthy offseason like you mentioned until you mentioned it. I mean, it's been a minute since that guy's had a real offseason where he could just focus on, just an offseason program without trying to rehab, some arm injury. So it's gonna be crazy, man. I'm ready. Like, what is it? The 11th pitchers, pitchers and catchers, then WBC guys go on the 9th. I think the Astros made the tickets available today for purchase for WBC, I think.
Yeah, and that USA Mexico game is not cheap.
Yeah. Look, are you going to go?
It is not.
So we've kind of dabbled on the idea of going. We're going to the opening weekend, the third game of opening weekend. So we're going to be down there for sure to start the season, but I don't know if we'll be able to make it to the World Baseball Classic. But it would be sick though. Maybe we'll see.
I'd like to. Maybe even if I go to like USA versus Brazil,
yeah.
Like even if I just go, I mean, it's a nasty lineup that USA is rolling out there. So it would be pretty sick to do. So you're saying we're not going to USA Mexico, Chris? Is that what you're saying?
Man, unless somebody sponsors us, no, we're not going. Maybe we'll go to USA versus like the Virgin Islands, maybe
Scotland.
Yeah, maybe Scotland versus the Virgin Islands. We can afford that.
Who's in the group? Is it Brazil, Italy? Is Italy in there? No, Great Britain. Great Britain's in there, I think.
Yeah, it's USA, Great Britain, Mexico, and I think somebody else.
I think
maybe
Brazil.
It's Brazil.
I think it's Brazil.
Yeah.
All right, Brazil game it is if we go.
Yeah, Luke, I'm down.
Luke, you posted something today, and I know that you posted something today, so I wanted to get your thoughts on it, man.
Yeah.
Bob Nightingale posted something about still talking about 2017 and the buzzer and all the stuff. So why don't you touch a little bit on what you posted, and then we'll get into it after that.
Yeah. So what I took from the article and what I posted was his quote was that there was other teams that were using technology to steal signs other than the Astros, which of course his article comes out, 7 years later, or I guess 5 years probably since they uncovered it. But I don't know. I didn't really read too much into the article. I know there were some Astros fans that are upset that they said Carlos Beltran was like scapegoated for it, when in reality Carlos Beltran was the main reason that thing even happened, right? They said he brought it over from the Yankees, and even said that the Astros were behind times on the whole, sign stealing thing. So I don't know, it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Obviously, I'm glad he put that little nugget in there that I posted about there's other teams cheating, which a lot of us already know. And then that started the whole buzzer theory again, which is just completely fabricated. It's just not real. And I usually don't get too caught up in, the Twitter comments, but I guess I had the time today to kind of clap back at some people. So
there you go.
I'm okay with anything, but once you get to the buzzer theory, I'm just like, it's just not true. It's just false. So
yeah. It's sometimes you just got to remind people like what the truth is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just funny that it's still getting talked about. That's what's wild to me, right? We're 8 years removed from that being a thing, right? And it's still getting talked about. We all know about the Yankees and Red Sox, and not just the three of our teams. I mean, it was league wide, right?
Yeah.
I think the Astros just did it better, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? So
I also think it's funny that a lot of people thinks that like it really does make us mad, when in reality, like a lot of Astros fans just laugh at it at this point.
Yeah.
Because we were just scapegoated in general. So
yeah,
it's just funny to kind of, get in some arguments about it.
All right, we had a comment a while back. Someone said that sounds like the cheaters are panicking. I forget what short we put out, right? And the comment was someone like, sounds like the cheaters are panicking. And it's like, what are we panicking about?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, we're fine. Yeah.
Yeah, we're good. Just look at the banners that hanging up out in left field. Man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like cool story, Milwaukee Brewers fan. You enjoy being a Brewers fan. Right?
Yeah, I had a Phillies fan come at me today, and I was like, I don't know why you're coming at me. We beat y'all fair and square in 2022, so I don't know why.
And had the greatest center field catch in your stadium.
Exactly. The mark probably still there.
Man, I'm telling you, like if I could find that framed, I would have it hanging up. Like seriously, like that, And Chaz should never buy beer here in this great city for that, right? Has he signed yet?
No, I don't think he's signed yet. I saw he posted a video, I think yesterday, of him in the cages, which I was like the first time I ever even really like heard from him this offseason. But I know he made like that farewell Houston post a couple weeks ago, so I know he's kind of moving on. I don't know if there was ever even a scenario he was going to go back to the minors, but I know he's moving on somewhere.
I mean, man, we were hoping for something big for that guy.
I know. I love Chaz.
Golly.
I love Chaz.
It just sucks that the injuries got him, and he just never really got back to what he was in 22, right? It was 22, that 20 home run season.
23 that he was
23.
He kind of broke out, and then 2023 he was just a stud. I think he batted like second in the ALCS that year.
Yeah.
Which that was a weird year just to begin with, but
yeah. So what are you seeing? What are you seeing with the Astros? Like, I mean, this last season of obviously we had all the injuries, right? I mean, it's very well chronicled the record-setting number that we had of injuries, right? So, and what still blows my mind is that even with all that, we're one game away from being in the playoffs, right? So
Yeah.
you give us a healthy Jordan and a healthy starting rotation. You know, we back to the ALCS, putting our spot back in there, back to, you know, the World Series. I mean, Seattle's got a good squad. I mean, we saw it last season, right? You gotta get past them again. Unfortunately, not again, but what do you think? What do you think going into this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think in my opinion, our offense it's gonna mash. I think they have a really good lineup right now. The only really big question marks, obviously, is the pitching staff. Just because I feel like we have so many guys that are just kind of like they have the big question mark over their head. We don't know how they're going to be. Lance McCullers, we just talked about him. Even Mike Burrows, we don't really know how he's going to, come over. Obviously, he has good stuff. We've seen, how he pitches, but there's just a lot of guys. Jason Alexander,
Yeah,
Ryan, is it Weiss? Is that how I pronounce his last name?
Weiss, I think. Let's go with
Yeah,
Weiss.
another big kind of question mark that obviously I hope they turn out and we have a Cy Young pitching staff, but that's just kind of where I'm at. If the pitching is there, obviously I think we can go as far as to win it, obviously, but it's really going to come down to the pitching. I think our offense bounces back. Need a big year out of Christian Walker, especially if they do go and move a guy like Isak. But I have all faith in the offense, so it's really going to come down to pitching, in my opinion.
Yeah, so Bryles, you just live in Arizona, right, Bryles?
Yeah, I used to live in
Arizona. So Bryles has been watching Walker play for a minute, right? And so he kind of during the season would talk us off the ledge a few times, in the streakiness that was Walker. You know what I mean? So bounce back for him would be fantastic. I mean, you need it. He has to.
Yeah.
Don't you think, Bryles?
Yeah, no, that he looked fantastic when he was with the Diamondbacks. He was super comfortable there. And, one of the things they were talking about today was just of how he used all of last year to kind of adapt to Houston. I think that could be an excuse, but at the same time, everybody's different. So, we'll see where that goes. But if he can get to any kind of form that he had with the Diamondbacks, then we're going to be just fine. So that part I'm not too terribly worried about.
And to add on to that, I also saw someone tweeted back at me the other day that it also is going to help him too to not be batting fourth in a lineup that's so injury plagued that we have Cooper Hummel, love the guy, but batting fifth in our lineup with all due respect. So I think once you give him, a good solid offense around him and the pressure's not as high, which I'm not saying that was an issue for him, but you have guys around him that can mash and he's a little bit more protected. I think he's gonna bounce back's even kind of like a crazy term to use just because I think he led our team in home runs last year, if I'm not mistaken. So it wasn't like I know Chandler Rome said today, it's not a Jose Abreu situation. Like we're far from that. But if we can get even a little bit more than what we got last year from him, it's gonna be a good year.
All right, man. Well, look, let's you're gonna tell me something about Tucker. You're gonna do it now?
I don't know. Tucker, I've been hearing a lot about Tucker and his market. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know why he hasn't accepted an offer yet. If these alleged, 10-year offer from Toronto is true. It's just I'm getting the vibe he doesn't want to play in either city. It's just kind of where I'm at. Obviously he could just be waiting out for money, which he probably is, and I'm just talking nonsense. But I don't know. It's just weird to me. I don't know why it's taking this long. $50 million a year,
$50 million
short-term offer from New York, like. That sounds like two really great offers. They said coming into the winter that he was wanting a long-term offer, in which Toronto was supposedly giving to him. So I don't know why he hasn't accepted yet. If he doesn't want to go to Toronto, I don't know. But it's just a weird situation.
Yeah, pretty interesting. $50 million is a lot. Obviously, it is a stupid amount of money to play baseball.
Those are both super high tax areas, though. So
yeah, that's
that 50 million isn't necessarily 50 million.
Exactly. And I think someone was saying 50 million, and this could be completely wrong. 50 million in New York was like equal to like close to around 35 in Texas or somewhere around there.
Golly.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not good at math, so don't take my word for it. But someone said that, and I was like, that's interesting.
Huh. Yeah. No, that's wild. That's so much taxes, dude.
That's a lot.
Thank you, Texas.
Yeah.
Thank you, freaking
there
Texas.
You go.
Chris, you got anything before we get out of here?
No, man. Like I said, before we get out, I want to say big thanks for Luke coming on with us. Man, definitely you are welcome anytime. And it's good to see. I wanted to say, hey, great job, PK. You lasted an entire episode without, your internet going out. So there you go.
Hell yes. Hell yes. Well, look, man, just like Chris said, thank you for coming on, man. We hope to have you on another time. Man, dude, we're getting each day we're getting closer and closer to real baseball, man. I'm so pumped. So
yeah.
Guys, I want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. Make sure that you like and subscribe to our channel. You can find us on YouTube at Juicebox Heroes, on X, TikTok, Instagram, all Juicebox Heroes. Until then, man, we will talk to y'all on Sunday. This is the Juicebox Heroes. I'm PK, Homer Chris, Sweet B Bones Wiles, and Luke from SleeperAstros. Y'all have a great rest of your week. Have a great weekend. Let's go Texans on Sunday, baby.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Swarm those Patriots.
Dude, they have got to beat the Patriots, man. Oh, my goodness.